This is the story of a beautiful girl in the UK that fell in love with a young gentleman in a coffee shop. Since the first time they saw each other, it was love at first sight. You could see in their eyes how much love they had, even when they went on walks. The way they hold their hands, the way that they look at each other, it was so intense. Their love was so genuine. Every time they saw each other, it was a matter of time for them to have their first kiss. And it happened. The kiss was so passionate. Under the sky, under the stars, under the moonlight. Everywhere they were kissing in the park. They went on picnics. They went for walks. It was just a beautiful scenery. But one time, he looked at her in her eyes and told her, "You are the woman of my life. You're everything I always wanted." They were always happy. They were always dancing. They would dance and ball. They'd go back to the coffee shop where they met. They would even dance in the streets. It was all pure happiness for them. They loved each other. One night they went to the streets of the city to get something for dinner, but there was something waiting for them. There was an evil person, someone that had malicious thoughts in his mind. All he wanted was to kill somebody. He pulled right in front of them and he grabbed her to protect her. He said, "You'll be alright, don't worry." At that moment, he was right in front of him and he put his hand forward and stabbed him right in the chest. He fell on his knees and started bleeding. In a matter of seconds, he disappeared. Instantly, he opened his eyes and he was in heaven. He saw the entrance to heaven. He saw an angel with an harp. And she called a smaller angel and came out. And the little angel said, "Something's wrong here. What are you doing here?" Then he called St. Peter's. St. Peter's came out. He said, "Something's wrong. What are you doing here? In the book of life it says it's not your time yet. What happened?" And he explained to him what happened. So he said, "No, you gotta go back. The only problem is that your body doesn't exist no more. So you're gonna wake up in a different body." So St. Peter lifted up his hand and said, "You're going back to the world." Instantly, he woke up in a different body. He didn't recognize himself. He was in a lone house in the middle of the forest. So his first reaction was, get out and run. He started running in the middle of the forest, in the middle of nowhere. Meanwhile, back home, his love was turning crazy. She was crying all the time. Nobody believed her what happened. Everybody in town thought that she was crazy because the story she was saying that his body disappeared after he got stabbed. So she would walk through town every night looking for her love. And she would cry herself to sleep every night until one day everything changed. She received a letter from Mexico and it was her love explaining everything that just happened. He told her how he went to heaven and he came back, but he woke up in a different body. So she didn't know what to do. She didn't know what to react. She believed him somehow because she saw him disappear out of nowhere. But she was just waiting and crying, thinking she was crazy every day until one day, out of nowhere, she received a red rose. And it was from him, explaining that it was going to be hard for her, but he was on his way to her. He finally gets on a plane and flies back home to her after a crazy situation, after months that he went through. They finally saw each other and they hugged each other, knowing it was not the same person. But how did he know all the stories about them? How did he know everything about her? It just felt so real. So she fell in love again. A whole different stranger, a whole different person, but it was him, and she believed him. So their passion, their love was stronger than ever. It was a love so genuine. It was a love so beautiful. Only they knew their story was real. So they loved each other. They didn't care about what people said. And they knew they belonged together. It didn't matter what body they were in, but they knew they were made for each other. Their stories seemed crazy, but they grew up old together, always loving each other. The end.